Hello, Mr. Jake Lurs.
Hello.
How are you, man?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Yeah, doing well.
Because you've already done a stateside Messengers kind of commemorative tour. What was that like?
Yeah, that was, I think, maybe like 6 or 7 weeks long. This tour is 5 weeks, and it was a lot of fun. It was really cool to go back to, you know, playing that whole album from start to finish that we had, you know, done 10 years ago. So it's like, kind of brings us back to, you know, the beginning of August Burns Red, and the crowds were really pretty insane. Kind of neat also to see just how dedicated a lot of your fans are, you know, because we've been around for a long time now, and it's like, you know, you're getting all these people that are like, yeah, man, you know, we come and see you, like, you know, at least once a year, but this one, you know, obviously 10 years for Messengers, like, that record really spoke to a lot of our fans, and so it was just cool to see some people just coming out of the woodworks and supporting that, and it was a lot of fun, man. It was really good.
Why do you think it kind of spoke to so many people then, as a record?
I don't really know. I mean, I guess maybe at that time, musically, it was different than what other bands were doing at that moment, I suppose. You know, definitely made a spark in the genre when it was released. And I feel like maybe lyrically, there's some relatively, you know, empowering songs on that record in particular. Composure was a really big hit, you know, and that song's about, you know, caring, recognizing that you have people around you that love you and want to, you know, support you and care for you, and that, I think, goes a long way in the genre of music that we play. You know, in this genre of music, there's a lot of people, I think, that, you know, they struggle sometimes and go through, you know, heartache, as I feel like almost every human does, but you know, it's like an aggressive genre of music that we're in. So there's a lot of pain, I think, and a lot of struggle and strife. So I think that song really connected with a lot of our fans, and you know, really spoke to them.
Okay. Yeah, it's quite funny because your lyrics are quite uplifting, but the delivery is so like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Can't judge a book by its cover, then, right?
Yeah, exactly. So if you had to have a favorite track from Messengers, what would it be?
I guess, I mean, I really like Composure. You know, like I said, for the reasons that I just mentioned. I really like Redemption, which is about my personal faith in God and in Christ, which is huge to me. And because of that, there's a lot of things that I do and have done that I think has been good for the world, you know, and made it a better place than when I first encountered, you know, this genre and everything.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny because some of the songs lyrically aren't, in my opinion, that great anymore. You know what I mean? Because as I've grown and matured as an artist over the years, I'm listening back on these songs and I'm going, man, really, you're gonna use that word? Or you know what I mean? Or you're gonna write a lyric about that? Like, that doesn't really, you know, it's not, to me, it's not as important as maybe I thought it was when I was 21. But yeah, I think Composure and Redemption are my two probably top favorites.
Okay. So you guys literally announced Phantom Anthem yesterday. So moving into the future now.
Yeah.
So do you think that when you guys went to write that record, because you'd done, you know, this tour with Messengers and stuff like that, did it influence the writing of it by any chance?
Not for me personally. I don't really think that it influenced any of us as far as writing an album. Maybe it influenced us to just be appreciative of where we've come from and all the hard work that we put in, because that was being told us throughout the entire tour, you know, like, look at where you were and look at where you are now, and all the hard work and dedication. So I think that we all took this album very seriously and really wanted to kind of progress in a, kind of show a little more of a mature look as artists, you know. I did a lot of studying on my own research as far as what I was doing was I was listening to like a lot of pop music, like Justin Bieber and like country pop stars and rappers, and I'm listening to how they place their vocals, their vocal patterns, their melodies, backing vocals, and what they were doing, and they're very simple, like simply placed. Let's see if I can explain it. So the vocals are very simply put. They're not chaotic,
right,
or they're not too like squeezed in, so that it's like kind of difficult to understand what's going on.
I see what
with
you mean.
the vocals, right? So then, if I can simplify my vocals on our album, it's going to give the instruments around my vocals an opportunity to shine. And so it kind of I kind of sit back, and I'm more of a foundational piece, like the drums per se, and usually the drummer is the backbone of the band, right? So he carries the band, and the rest of the band kind of flourishes on top of that. Well, we kind of did something, well, I feel as though I tried to simplify my vocal patterns, make them strong and bold, but not really chaotic or messy, so that all the instrumentation could really, you know, kind of shine and kind of pop. And I feel like I did that on this album, and then I realized that past records, every record, there's something that I really focus on. Maybe that's my highs and lows, maybe that's my enunciation, maybe that's my you know, diversity and being able to, you know, give like pitched yells or screams. And so this record, I really just tried to perfect each of those. And I feel like that's where like the maturity comes from on my side, is that recognizing that I don't have to do anything really crazy or insane, but rather simple is good.
So do you think that kind of comes, not calling you old here, but with age, you know what I mean? Because the band is older now. Do you think that's kind of...
Yeah, I think it's like, I would agree with that. I think, you know, it's a process. I mean, it's a growing process as an artist, you know what I mean? So it's like, I think the idea of being an artist is the fact that you're continuously growing, and that you want to strive to learn more and grow, right? And I think that, yeah, we're at this place where I personally realize, hey, I don't necessarily have to, you know, do something different in order to make something sound great or be different. I just have to perfect what I have and use it tastefully. It's like almost like painting a picture, and you go, wow, that's beautiful, you know, forest, but what's all this yellow smeared in the top right? It's like, well, I'm trying to be different.
Yeah.
But it's messy. It doesn't make sense, you know? Why would you bother? And so, you know, you've come to this place where it's like, no, let's perfect what we have, you know, and really put detail and emphasis on what you've already created throughout the 12 years of being in this band. And so I think that's the maturity part, yeah.
So what about lyrically? Where does the kind of record lie? Is there a common theme, or?
No, it's I mean, ABR is pretty much always written, you know, just from our personal experience or perspective on the world, and, you know, our views, morals, values, things like that. So each track really has its own, you know, it's like its own subject matter or its own story or purpose or reason for being on the album.
Okay.
And again, it's a mix of Brent, Matt, and myself, who are like the main, you know, lyricists in the bands, which is actually really cool, because in that way we don't get stuck on one particular, you know, vibe or thing that somebody's experiencing. So like if I was the only lyricist, like let's say I went through a nasty breakup, well, you better believe that the record's probably gonna be about me, you know, complaining about, you know, my breakup. Now, who wants to hear a full, you know, 12, you know, tracks, 45 minutes of me complaining? I don't even want to hear that. The diversity with the writing is cool, and then it also brings a sense of unity to the band, I think, where everybody goes, you know, I really, you know, because we all read all the lyrics. I mean, there's maybe 30 to 40 lyrics that are presented to the band. We read through all of them, and we, you know, discuss which ones we like, which is most important to us. And then I think, so then, you know, when we do that as a band, it unifies us and makes us even more of, you know, banded together. So I think it's a good growing process for the band as well.
And I've always just wondered, There have been some kind of pretty unorthodox moments. Like, I know in Internal Canon, there's that sort of like, it's almost like a salsa bit. And there's some kind of other ones as you go through the albums. What's inspired that? What made you guys think of it?
JB's just nuts. He's just a nut, man. Like, he just, I don't know where he gets that. You know, none of us are a part of that. Like, he's just like, hey, this is a song, because he's the main songwriter, you know, so, hey, this is a song I wrote, and it's like, cool, man, sounds like what is that? What is that thing that you just did?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
You're like, where'd that come from? He's like, oh, it's a Chinese sitar, and it's, like, okay, I mean, that's cool. You know, like, the first time he presented musical content like that to me, I was like, I don't know, like, what am I supposed to do with this? What am I, as a vocalist, what am I supposed to do with this? It's so odd, you know, it doesn't fit in any, you know, little square that I had in my mind. So a lot of those times when you hear those crazy spunky parts, there's no vocals over them, because A, I didn't know what to do with it, or B, I was just like, just, you know, we'll let that shine and do its thing. And you know, I tried doing some vocal parts over some of that stuff, and it just didn't connect, you know. So I don't know where he gets it from, honestly. I don't, but I love it. I love him. I love the way that he writes. I think it's very unique, especially with Found in Faraway Places. You know, was really like, I think that record was kind of just trying to spice up and to send a message of like, hey, let's not all try to do the same exact thing at the same exact time, you know, like, that's not art, you know. I think that was the message of that record. That's the way that I received it, as far as like, hey, like, you know, we kind of want, we don't want this genre to dry up, you know. We don't want the well to dry. We want people to be themselves and to express their themselves in their own ways musically, not just, you know, get a throat piece and then be in some, you know what I mean, hardcore death band or whatever, and
get hand tats and that's it.
Yeah. There's a few moments like that on this album, but as a whole, it's a little more straightforward.
What for you does Messengers mean?
What does Messengers mean to me? I guess for me personally, it was the start of a new life. You know, because that was the first album that I had done with August Burns Red, and you know, that was, I mean, a complete game changer for me. You know, once that record was released, it was like non-stop touring, pretty much sacrifice everything that you've got, you know, moment where it's like, if you're gonna do this, you have no time for anything or anybody, you know. And so it was an awfully big challenge, but it was a game changer and the start of a new beginning. So, and now I'm 12 years deep in this, and
it's a long new beginning. Yeah.
In the UK, so I have no complaints.
Thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure, man.
Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate your time.